now we've got a better impact point and a better surface normal. Surface normal is not going to be all screwed to hell. Theoretically. Because we're casting a ray that's not causing a degenerate case in our mathematics. So, we're moving. What is going on here? Move interaction vector is negative and negative, which is fine. So when we're doing this, suggested new position is going to be our impact point. That's our surface normal. It used to be our surface normal. Yeah, this isn't working. This is going to move us up and to the left, because that's what our normal is pointing at. And what's the impact point? So it's at this impact point, it's just garbage data pretty much. Because we moved to the left, didn't we? Like, our new position, now we're casting our new position by negative surface normal, so that's towards the thing. And that's how we're getting our new position, and that should basically take us off the wall, and then put us back onto the wall, farther to the left. We've moved down and to the left. so we should now stick back to the wall. But our impact point is just trash. So how do we want to determine our impact point? Well, we need a better impact point than what we've got. So what we're doing is we're casting, and then we're moving, and then basically we're trying to move back, but our impact point is setting something else. So we need to do what we were looking at before, which is the F hit result needs to give us the begin and end, the trace start and trace end. So basically what it's going to be is we need to have the actual impact point here, F vector actual impact point. We need F vector trace start, F vector trace end. Alright, so trace end is not what we want. It's impact point is location world space of actual contact of the trace with the impacted object. It may also be that we're still casting like a really big number here. Like our far enough is still a little bit too big. So we'll see. Basically we have the trace start and we've got the trace end should be something that we can get. So okay. So trace start equals clocking hit dot trace start, and the trace end equals blocking hit trace start plus blocking hit time times direction. This would be down. Normal of the hit mortal space for the object that was hit by the sweep. So impact normal should be the correct one. Right. Alright, so trace start and trace end. Otherwise, trace start and trace end should be the negative service normal. So basically, the impact point should be the actual impact point. Should equal what's going to be the new position actual impact point is going to equal, it's going to be the new position plus, well, it's going to be, we want to take the trace start minus new position. So that's going to take us from the start of the trace to the middle of the object. And then we want to add the, we want to save the f-vector direction. Set the direction to down. And direction to negative service normal here. So we're going to subtract this, and that should basically give us from the start of the trace to the new position. It's going to take us up there. Actually, the actual impact point should just be this plus impact point. So we'll see. Fuck. Trace start and new position. We'll see if they're even the same thing. So trace start is, yeah, it's got an X coordinate there. New position has a 0, so the impact point has a 4 in it. So the actual impact point is trace start minus new position. That's actually going to take the new position and move it over there. So we actually want to do, it's going to be impact point minus this vector. It's going to be actual impact point. So we're going to set impact point equals actual impact point. And that should translate our impact point from what it was into something that actually makes sense from the origin, the middle of our object. So that should fix our x issues. So it's probably going to be stuff like that. Like we need to translate the impact points and all those things back into some sort of something that's in line with like the center of our object, regardless of its geometry, and the surface that it's trying to stand on. And that's probably the key to getting this actually working. Well, our impact point coordinate is not 0 anymore. I mean, x coordinates is actually 0 every single time now, even though we're not setting it. The actual point is always getting set to 0, which is proper. And this is setting it so our impact point is actually normal to it. So then we need to add the direction vector. So we need to add the direction vector times the closest distance. And that will give us our actual impact point. Is that correct? I don't know. It was putting us in the wrong spot. Well, it's definitely not correct. We should not be higher than that. Alright, so basically it's the actual impact point is going to be the yeah, we're calculating it wrong, but it's pretty damn close to what we need. I mean, is this just new position? Now let's just see here. So if this is the position, like this is new position of our objects, that's the center of it, and this guy's casting and he's hitting a surface, then we want to know what this guy's position is, the middle of it. Because the impact point should be basically like what we want to do is the impact point is like over here, and we want to move the impact point, I guess, over to the center of this object. And then we want to take this vector and add it to it. So we want to we basically want to take, we've got this vector right here and we've got this point, so we're just going to add this vector here and this vector here. So all we need to do to turn the impact point into what would have been this point is we just add the offset, which is going to be new position minus the race start. So it's just new position plus this is the actual impact point. Is that correct? And the surface normal our overlap hit an object. We did not strike any object in our sweep. We totally did. The impact coordinate is crap. Did I just set that to just the wrong damn thing? It wasn't supposed to be new position, it was supposed to be impact point. Well, if we set the penetration distance higher, then we can like move over larger things when our angle changes, so we should be able to safely set our pen distance to a larger number. Oh, man. Starting to slow down here. Brain is not working. So the trace start difference is actually quite a bit. The trace start difference is always offset by 4 in the x direction and 26.8 in the z the z. What? Seems wrong. Seems wrong. Let's zoom in a little bit. The ortho width is 5,500. Let's set it to 1,000. So we should have at least a little bit closer view of this. And of course, our big problem here is we're actually trying to do a good job on this and get this right instead of just hacking some shit together. Because if we were just hacking some stuff together, we could much more easily do this. So, yeah, here's if we're showing our collision, like, obviously stuff is totally screwed up here because our overlap should be showing that we're in the damned object, but it's saying our overlap did not hit any object, setting to new suggested position. So obviously, we should just kind of work on some of these fundamentals, like making sure the overlap is actually overlapping properly. Because that's fucking overlapping. That's probably a big part of why things are not correct with math, is we've got something going on here with our object where, like, we're sweeping a component in a direction or overlapping in a direction, and it's not actually giving us the proper stuff. So I'm gonna probably take a quick break and see how that's all going. I think we're going to need the actual center of the physics component, and we're going to need to add that to the new position, is what it sounds like. Yeah, 3 in the morning, so you're on the East Coast. Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep plugging away at this until whenever. Well, why don't we just take a look at the actual components here when we run this and see if we can grab anything off of it. Because I don't know how to get the center of the object, the shape. So we've got a flip a component, got a body setup. Primitive component has, maybe its own scene component, attached to parent, client attached socket name, we're not attached to a socket, bounds, component to world, relative location is 0, relative scale, so we're on this guy. So we don't have any rotations or any of that stuff. Bounds are origin, and then we got box extent of 0 on it. So what I like to do, just stop it. So the body setup is what we need. Physics type. What are we doing in paper physics component? It's like a renderer thing. Physics scene proxy. We're getting the aggregate geometry. Get geometry transform. Try to debug collision. Just call this. So get object type for the channel, get color for channel, draw debug body setup. If let's just see what this is. Yeah, I'll probably be streaming all the time. I have no plans to stop streaming. So we are get aggregate geometry. So we do have a rotation, we have a translation, scale 3D is all one. Our selection is selected, owner, view index, collector. What is this? So get aggregate, apply, selected, define color, selected, hovers. What the hell is this? Get selection, color. Yeah, we don't need this. Let's get aggregate geometry, transform, color. So this is just getting our geometry. So sphere elements is empty. And this is physics drawing.cvp. What is sphere elements? We have a box element, so the box element is, it's got a center and then an X, Y, and a Z. Are those the extents? Yeah, probably. So I'm gonna need to get the elements. Yeah, we'll work on showing it who's boss and all that stuff, but it's pretty clear that I'm gonna need to be grabbing the center of these, the center of the geometry of the physics objects. And it's like, and I'm gonna need to be adding that to these objects to actually be able to do like a ray trace or a sweep with the actual thing. Which is stupid. It's like, come on, what the hell? Like, these things should just fucking work. Ah. Anyway, I would go to an issue. Oh, issue. Issue. How do you fuck? Yeah, so yeah, it's as I expected. There are bugs with Unreal where it's not actually. It's not. The sweep is just broken. There's actually there's a bug report on it. Yeah, they just won't fix. So yeah, that's fucking garbage. Reported 2 years ago, updated 2 months ago that they will not fix it. So because I've got, it's probably just that all this stuff is screwed because I'm using. Fuck. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. I have to find the goddamn center of this shit so I can actually do something with it. So I need to get the world transform of the child component. But it's not just the world transform of the child component. I need to get the shape, the center of the shape that's on it. And I think that's on this body setup. When the hell do I even get the frickin' collision on this shit? So we need to get the body set up off of this thing. So paper physics component.h. Body setup is there. So it's going to be comp, body setup, and then we need to get the aggregate geometry. We're going to get should be just box elements. Everything has a box element, at least we're gonna assume. So this is an FK box element. This is the aggregate geometry box element. And a box element has an X, Y, and Z, and those are extents, and then we have the center. So it's going to be f vector box center equals box dot center. And basically we're going to need to do like f vector actual start position equals start position plus box center. And that's how we're supposed to cast this thing through the world? Alright, actual box center. Actual box start pause. And we're going to print out also the box center. This is going to be box center offset from parent is. And this sucks. I gotta retrieve all this crap just to do a ray trace in the damn world on a primitive component that already exists in an engine that's supposed to be good. What is this? Yeah, where is FK box element? Well, let's see what we can do with this. Because I thought we weren't going to have to monkey around with the internals of everything just to get our frickin' stuff to work. So the box center is actually looking decent for that. And the box center is actually offset in the X direction. I mean, is that how we're supposed to be? Is that actually true? I mean, he's supposed to be 151 wide and 48 high. So I guess the box center is we're going to have to apply the parent transformation to this. That's what I think. So we'll get our actors transform. And we want to rotate this thing by our transform. So transform dot set translation. And we want to set it to f vector 0 vector. And it's going to be like transform dot transform vector. It's going to be box center. Say box center equals the box center transform. So we're only clearing out the translation. The scale should still be present, as well as the rest of this crap. Transform hides previous transform. Let's see, actor